Two Australians bought investment properties on the same street in 2018. Same suburb, same bank, same mortgage broker. One of them just sold, pocketed a massive gain, paid their tax, moved on. The other one, they're holding on, waiting, thinking they're being patient, thinking they're being smart, and they have absolutely no idea that the government just changed the rules on them. The clock is ticking, and most investors in this country don't even know it started. Right now, in the wake of the 2026 federal budget, Australia is staring down the biggest overhaul to capital gains tax since 1999. Not a tweak, not a minor adjustment. A complete structural replacement of a rule that has shaped how this country builds wealth for the last 27 years. And if you own an investment property, a share portfolio, an ETF, a managed fund, or if you've been meaning to sort out your finances for the last 3 years, this video is not optional. This is urgent. Before we get into the numbers, I want to say something that no financial news outlet is going to say. You didn't do anything wrong. If you feel confused right now, if you feel like the system keeps moving the goalposts every time you start to get ahead, you are not imagining it. You followed the advice, you bought the investment property, you held it, you didn't panic sell, you did everything they told you to do. And now the Treasurer stands up in Canberra and tells you the deal has changed. Not for the politicians, not for the big super funds, not for the corporations. Companies don't even use the CGT discount. Never did. For you. The mum who scrimped and saved for a deposit on an investment unit in Geelong. The tradie in Penrith with a couple of shares in BHP he's been holding for a decade. The nurse in Brisbane who opened an ETF account during COVID because she finally had time to think about her future. This change hits those people. And the least they deserve is someone explaining exactly what is happening, in plain English, without the spin. Imagine a couple. Let's call them Mark and Sarah. Mark's a project manager in his mid-40s. Sarah's a primary school teacher. They live in the outer western suburbs of Melbourne. One of those streets where everyone knows their neighbour, where there are trampolines in every second backyard, and where the local cafe knows your coffee order. 6 years ago, they bought an investment property in a suburb closer to the city. Stretched themselves to do it. Sarah's mum lent them part of the deposit. Mark worked weekends for 6 months to cover the stamp duty. They've been landlords ever since. Not glamorous landlords. The kind of landlords who fix things themselves. Who dread the 2 a.m. maintenance call. Who negotiate sensitively with tenants who fall behind on rent. That property is now worth considerably more than they paid for it. And for the last 2 years, they've been having the same argument at the kitchen table. Mark wants to sell. Sarah wants to hold. Mark says, "We've made a strong gain. Let's lock it in. Let's pay down our mortgage. Let's breathe." Sarah says, "If we sell now, the CGT will swallow too much. We hold another year. Then we reassess." Neither of them is wrong. Both of them are scared. And now, the budget just walked into that kitchen, pulled up a chair, and made that argument infinitely more complicated. Because the rules they were planning around, the rules that told them exactly what their tax bill would look like, those rules just changed. Here's what was true until this budget. If you bought an asset, a property, shares, anything, held it for more than 12 months and sold it at a profit, you only paid tax on 50% of that gain. The other 50%? Gone, tax-free, vanished. That was the CGT discount. Introduced in 1999 under the Howard government. The rule that made property investment the cornerstone of Australian wealth building for a generation. That rule is being abolished from the 1st of July 2027. Full stop. What replaces it is inflation indexation. Here's what that means in practice. And I'm going to translate this for you, not just recite a Treasury fact sheet. Under the new system, the government takes your original purchase price and adjusts it upward for inflation. Then they only tax you on the gain above that inflation-adjusted figure. Sounds fair on the surface, right? But here's what that actually feels like in your body. Imagine you've held an investment property for 8 years. You've been counting down to that sale. You've mentally assigned that money. Part of it is going to your kid's university fund. Part of it is paying off your own home. You've lain awake at night calculating it, knowing that the 50% discount was your ally. And now imagine someone quietly rewriting that calculation while you slept. The 50% CGT discount for assets held more than 12 months is being abolished and replaced with CPI-based cost-based indexation. along with a new 30% minimum tax on realised gains. That minimum 30% rate is the part that stings. Some lower income investors could pay materially more CGT than under the previous system, even after inflation indexation is applied. Think about that. A retired school teacher who sells her investment unit in a modest regional market doesn't earn much in that calendar year. Under the old system, her CGT bill would have been relatively gentle. The discount brought the taxable gain down, and her low income meant a lower marginal rate. Under the new system, a floor of 30% on those real gains, regardless of her income. That's not taxing the wealthy, that's taxing the careful. Now here's what the headlines aren't telling you. The big financial news sites are running stories about property investors, about the housing market, about negative gearing. And yes, negative gearing for residential property will be limited to new builds from 2027 to 28 onwards, with arrangements remaining unchanged for all existing investments made before 7:30 p.m. AEST on the 12th of May 2026. That's significant. But it's only half the picture. What nobody is talking about loudly enough is this. These changes don't just affect property investors. The changes affect not just investment property, but also shares, ETFs, and managed funds. So if you've been quietly building a share portfolio, if you've been adding to an ETF every month, if you've got a managed fund your financial advisor set up for you years ago, you are in this story. Every ordinary Australian investing outside of superannuation is directly affected. And here's the insider layer that accountants and financial advisors are talking about in their offices right now, that most investors won't hear about until it's too late. For assets owned before the fund's July 2027 and sold afterwards, transitional rules will apply. Taxpayers may be able to either use a time apportionment method to split gains between the old and new systems, or obtain a market valuation at the 1st of July 2027 to separate gains under each regime. That valuation option, that is your window. That is the one piece of information that could be worth thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to you. If you can get a formal market valuation of your investment assets as at the 1st of July 2027, you can crystallize exactly how much of your gain falls under the old discount regime and how much falls under the new indexation regime. You are essentially drawing a line in the sand and saying, everything I earned before this date, I've locked in under the old rules. That's not a loophole. That's a legitimate, announced transitional concession. But it requires you to act. It requires documentation. It requires professional guidance. And most Australians will just sit there and let it happen to them. Picture the waiting room of a suburban accounting firm in any major Australian city. Right now, today, the chairs are full. It's not tax season. But the phones haven't stopped ringing since budget night. The senior partner is working through lunch. His associate is on her third coffee, fielding calls from clients who heard something on the radio while they were driving to work and are now half panicking. One client is a retired couple in their late 60s. They own 3 investment properties. They've never paid much attention to CGT before, always just let the accountant handle it. Now they're sitting across the desk asking, should we sell before July 2027? The honest answer is, it depends. It depends on how long you've held the asset. It depends on what the gain actually is. It depends on your marginal tax rate. It depends on your super balance. It depends on whether selling now triggers a tax event that's worse than holding and paying under the new rules. For a 4-year hold in a moderate growth scenario with a transitional split, the impact is real but manageable. But for high growth assets, the share portfolio that tripled during the tech boom, the inner city apartment that's worth double what you paid, the bigger impact is for high growth assets, shares, businesses, or properties in markets that significantly outpace inflation, where the gap between nominal and real gains is large. The calculation is genuinely different for every investor, which is exactly why the advice you're going to get from a TikTok video or a Reddit thread is dangerous. Not wrong necessarily, just incomplete. So what do you actually do right now, this week? Here's the practical blueprint. Not generic, not theoretical. This is the move. Step 1. Know what you own and when you bought it. Pull out every single CGT asset you hold. Properties, shares, ETFs, managed funds. Write down the acquisition date and the rough current value. If you haven't done this before, do it this weekend. The reason this matters Assets purchased and sold before the fund's July 2027 will continue to be taxed under the current CGT rules. So, the question of whether to sell before the cutoff is a legitimate one. But you can only answer it if you know what you're holding. Step 2. Book an appointment with your accountant or a fee-for-service financial advisor before the end of 2026. Not in June of next year when everyone is scrambling now. While there's still time to think clearly and plan properly, ask them specifically, given my portfolio, am I better off selling before the 1st of July 2027, holding and getting a market valuation as at that date, or simply holding long-term and accepting the new rules? Each answer leads to a completely different strategy. Step 3. Understand your superannuation position. Superannuation funds, including SMSFs, are expected to retain their existing 1/3 CGT discount on directly held assets. This is enormously significant. Superannuation remains the most tax-advantaged vehicle in this country. Contributions taxed at 15% on the way in. Investment earnings taxed at 15% inside the fund. And now, potentially, a far gentler CGT treatment than holding assets personally. If you've been coasting on low super contributions because you were relying on your investment property for retirement wealth, that calculation may have just changed. Talk to your advisor about concessional contributions. Talk about whether a self-managed super fund makes sense for your situation. Don't sleep on this. Step 4. If you're considering buying an investment property right now, think carefully. The negative gearing restriction applies to new investors buying established residential properties from 2027 to 28 onwards. Existing arrangements will be grandfathered for current investors. There is a narrow window before July 2027 where the old rules still apply. For some investors, that window represents an opportunity. For others, those who would be stretching too far financially, it represents a trap dressed as an opportunity. Do not let urgency override judgment. Step 5. Keep watching this channel. The legislation hasn't passed yet. These measures are still proposals and are not yet law, though they represent one of the most significant potential shifts to Australia's tax system in recent years. The details will be refined. Treasury will release further guidance. There will be amendments. There will be clarity on the parts that are still murky, like how trusts are treated, how SMSFs interacting with trusts will be affected, and exactly how the 30% minimum rate will be calculated for different investor types. This story is not over. It's just beginning. Back to Mark and Sarah. They're still at that kitchen table, but now they have something they didn't have before. Information. They know that gains accrued before the 1st July 2027 are still taxed under the old discount. They know there's a valuation option. They know to talk to their accountant now, not in a year's time, not when everyone else is panicking. They know the rules changed, and they know what to do next. That's the difference between people who build wealth in this country and people who feel like wealth is always just slightly out of reach. It's not smarts, it's not luck, it's just knowing what's actually happening. The government made a major move this budget night. Now you know. The question is what you do with it.